I made a mistake about my father, and it's so embarrassing to expose, but when I was growing up, I thought that my father was not so good looking. I actually really thought that he was very ugly. He was 40 when I was born, so by the time I was growing up, he was much older than the other dads that were around, and they were like in their 20s and 30 maybe maximum, like, like young beautiful man that I saw. And then there was my dad, and on top of that, he also would not take care of himself as much, I thought. He just didn't care much what he's wearing, and he was also he didn't live with us. I grew up with my mom, but he would be visiting sometimes. So whenever he was visiting, I was just really scared of him, or I wouldn't want to be around him, only because he wasn't so good looking. And he would be very hairy. I remember like he had hairy hands, which was just different than from my mom that I was used to. So I would have these judgments, and also because I had these judgments, and it was big because, for example, like on all my pictures from my childhood, I cut my dad out, so I don't even know what he looks like anymore. I have no pictures of my dad because I cut him out on all of my pictures. I remember at a summer camp when he was coming to visit me, I would jump out of the window from a cottage and was hiding because I didn't want to be seen with him. I was lying at school about my dad having a really expensive car because I thought it will compensate for his, for his looks that I was so embarrassed about. I was just so ashamed of him. And actually what was happening is that I was hurting my dad. I wouldn't be, I was just really closed and shut down when I was around him, very judgmental, just not fun to be around him. We never really connected. It was almost impossible to connect with me. I just wished I had a different dad. And so recently I revisited this because I thought I've done a lot of work on my dad, and I realized, my relationship with him was peaceful, and I forgave him for everything, and I forgave myself. But I only remembered this last piece recently, that actually I thought my dad was really ugly. And I also felt so much shame around that thought, because I'm not supposed to judge people on their looks. I'm supposed to just take everyone as they are and look into their heart, but that wasn't like that. My whole life I thought I really was growing up, and until yesterday I really had this thought that he was ugly. So I sat down and I was I was thinking about it deeply in a meditative way. And what I realized was that actually the truth is always reversed. So I reversed this thought that I was imagining, and suddenly in my mind I was seeing him as beautiful. And first I couldn't believe it. I was like, well, he's not beautiful. He was not beautiful. I mean, I really didn't like his face and the way he was wearing things, the hairs and stuff. But suddenly, when I was really in that deep contemplative state, the gecko confirms, I really saw my dad as beautiful. Once, when he was playing guitar and he was so passionate about it, I really saw him beautiful without exception. There was another time when he actually came to me once in my dream, and I just saw his face coming closer to me, and I believed it was his higher self. It was just him looking so intelligent and so beautiful, how he would look without all the stories that I put on him. And another time, the last time, was when we were at my grandmother funeral, where we were sitting next to each other, and he dressed up so nicely, and he was crying, and I've never seen him just so open and so vulnerable, and he was just such a beautiful being sitting there next to me. And I realized recently that my dad actually came here into my life. I mean, he passed away when I was 21, so that's almost 20 years ago. But he came to my life to show me, to learn about true seeing, to see really behind those masks that we wear and about the appearances and judgments. And I've noticed how much I've been judging people depending on their appearances and judging myself and trying to be something that I'm not. And it was really deep, that knowing that now I can look at everyone just like I look at my father, as a beautiful being, a beautiful spirit who came to my life to really show me all these things that I would have otherwise completely missed. So thank you so much for watching, and have a beautiful day.